What's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bane coming to you live right here, Coach's Corner, the center of the universe, Thunderbolt, Georgia. Another episode of Rubbing and Grubbing. Rubbing is racing, grubbing is tasting. Man, I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday night out there. Got some NASCAR news to go over. Going to recap that amazing race that we had there at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That was an awesome one. So got a lot to go over there. Going to talk about that Vegas preview and try to give you guys a little betting advice. We'll talk about how we've been doing it here in just a little bit. But so if you're new, the way we like to start the show out is with what we call the word of the day. All right, so the way you're going to play this is every time I say a word, I have no idea what it is. Lawrence is going to throw it up. Every time I say it, you're going to take a sip of your favorite adult beverage. I know it's Wednesday. I know it's like hump day. We still got a couple work days left to go, but, you know, play along. And I always like to say it's age appropriate, under 21, Red Bull, sweet tea, Kool-Aid, whatever you got, stay up late. Let's give it hell, man. It's Wednesday night. Bam! All right. So getting into that NASCAR news, hey, I mean, Daniel Suarez, man, came home victorious there at Atlanta after a remarkable finish. We're going to go into more detail about it, but third closest finish in NASCAR history there coming out of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Good win for that team, pretty much, you know, almost locks them into the playoffs. Not quite, you know, we got to get there and see how many winners we have, but a great way to start out the season there for the 99 camp. So Joey Logano, man, got fined. Man, I want to talk about this a little bit because this is pretty interesting. So, you know, I knew that we obviously have like PPE, right? Like you got to have your protection equipment. It's got to come up to code and standards, which being at the race, I didn't really see a picture of it, right? I didn't get on my phone and Google it to look at it. But now that I've been home, I completely understand why he got fined for what he got fined for the glove. If you hadn't yet, go check the picture out. But it's definitely got a little bit of webbing on the fingers there, which we all know some guys like to do it, some don't. But, you know, they stick the hand out the window there at those super speedway style races. You know, maybe deflect a little air. I don't think they wouldn't do it if it didn't pay something, whether it's a 100,000th of a second or a 110,000th of a second. I don't know. Whatever it pays out, obviously, there's a reason to do it. So,
come on, man.
I give him credit for trying, man. You know, he just got caught with it. So, at the end of the day, we'll see what the next one goes to. So getting back into Saturday, man, I tell you what, Austin Hill sneaks in for that win there in the Xfinity race. Man, I tell you, the kid's on fire. I mean, if you look at super speedway style racing, I don't think anybody's going to contend with Austin Hill unless he has some trouble out there, caught up in a wreck or whatever it might be. But I tell you, at the end of the day, he's definitely getting the job done 100%, man. So I felt bad for Jesse Love, you know, that's his teammate. I mean, led so much of that Xfinity race and then just kind of ran out of gas, which was definitely a bummer there, man. You know, like I said, the kid's been doing really good the first couple weeks. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't meant to be. It seemed like they had a little bit of a longer caution there in the Xfinity race than what was meant to be there towards the end. And it might have cost them the win. I feel bad for him, but, hey, that's something that, you know, happens. So keep it up. Keep grinding, man. So if you haven't yet, please go out, like, share, follow, all that social media out there, man. You guys can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything out there. But definitely make sure you go out and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Like I say, the more eyes we get on it, hopefully the more eyes we get on the charitable events that we do here at Coaches and on Rubbing and Grubbing. So speaking of that, you know, getting into that number 10 of Noah Gragson and 41 of Ryan Preece, both caught L1 penalties there. The roof air deflectors were, I don't know if they were mounted wrong. I don't know exactly. I didn't exactly read the T's of it, but at the end of the day, level 1 penalty, 35-point driver points and ownership points there. So, you know, unfortunately, I don't think the 10 of the 41 are really going to have to worry about ownership points or championship point driver points anytime in the near future. They got a long way to go. They got to get some consistency and get to leading laps and running up front if they want to make a stride. But at the end of the day, it's still a bummer there again. So Denny Hamlin, man, another box checked off of his first times list, and this article had me dying laughing, which is pretty cool. But over his career, of all places, Atlanta Motor Speedway was the first time Denny Hamlin ever peed his pants. All right, he came out and said it. He said, look, you know, 10 cautions in that race. The caution laps adding up. You know, they slow down the pace of the race. We're cleaning it up. We're doing this. We're doing that. You know, he goes, look, I was trying to hold it, and I was thirsty, and I was full, and I just couldn't make it. So, at the end of the day, I mean, that's pretty impressive to make it this many years with it only happening this one time. So hopefully it doesn't become a habit. But in the famous words of Denny Hamlin, he peed your favorite driver, y'all. I promise you that. So getting into that checkered flag for charity, y'all, and I tell you what, if anybody knows, been watching the show since we came out, this is really the mainstay of the show. This is really the reason we come up here and do it. I love to talk NASCAR. Lawrence loves NASCAR. But at the end of the day, we get to raise money for somebody or a local charity that stays right here in the Savannah area. And there's nothing better than that feeling than trying to give back to your community. I mean, I can think of a couple, but at the end of the day, this is a great way to, help out people in need in your local area. So, check your flag for charity. The way that we do it is whatever car number wins that race, we donate into the checkered flag for charity swear bucket. 99, Daniel Suarez, man. So we're just going to call it a cool, even $100 bill going in. Let's see, that brings the total up this year to $143. So we've actually got one coming up this Saturday here at Coach's Corner. We're going to have a cooler full of joy out there. I'll let you guys know who's playing here in just a bit, but we'll have a cooler full of joy set up. So if you do plan on coming out to Coach's this Saturday night for the live music event, definitely make sure you bring a little bit of extra cash. Get you a couple raffle tickets. Got a chance to go home with a great cooler, man. At the end of the day, like I said, it all stays local right here. This year, we're doing it for one of LB's buddies right here, Logan Spencer. So he was killed in a motorcycle accident 2 weeks ago. He loved NASCAR and was a friend of the show. Absolutely, subscribe, comment on some of the stuff. Just never missed an episode of Rubbin' and Grubbin', which I greatly appreciate that support. I'm ashamed I never really got to meet him, unfortunately. But he was a master mason, a Shriner, and Ollie Pirate member, which he loved. Member of the Police Emerald Society. So we all know, like this time of year coming up here, the next couple of weeks with Irish Heritage down on Tybee, and what they've got going on, obviously downtown Savannah, Patrick's Day. It's hitting close to home. So, like I said, anything you can come in and donate is going to be greatly appreciated. We've also got other giveaways we're doing throughout the year. We're going to have some die casts. We've got a helmet we're going to bring out here in the next couple of weeks for you. Like I said, at the end of the day, we've got some really cool giveaways. So if you haven't subscribed to it, stay tuned. Let's help, Logan. Let's hope Logan Spencer's family recover the best way they can. Like I said, two awesome kids, Ashton and Sparrow, 3 and 5-year-olds. So, like I said, man, turn out, show up, bring that dough, throw that donation in, man, and do a feel good for for your local charity, local charitable events, man, here at Coach's Corner. So, getting into the who's hot and who's not, sponsored by Arbor Man Tree Service. But before we do, got to give my boy Parker a big shout out. I missed him this year at Atlanta, man. Another tree service owner was there, and we had a good time hanging out, as always. But missed my boy, man. You see the hat. You'll see the number scrolling on the screen all night long. Arbor Man Tree Service, the best tree service in Savannah area. Like I said, locally owned and operated. Owner Parker Eccles, you'll see that number scrolling. So make sure you give him a call for any kind of your tree service needs. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's tree removal, stump grinding, just cutting some limbs back, just to get ready if you need some clearance over your roof. Doesn't matter what it is, man. Make sure you give Parker Eccles a call over there at Arbor Man. He'd be glad to come out and give you an estimate. Again, you'll see that number scrolling all night. Arbor Man Tree Service. As I always say, hey, man, no job too big, too small. Give Parker a call, baby. Love you, dude. So getting into the who's hot, I know I'm about to catch some grief, right? For my hot list this week. But I am going to put this one number one. All right, number one on my hot list this week, and we're only a couple weeks into the season, all right? Nobody's really established themselves as dominant, anything like that. But Atlanta Motor Speedway, man, has got to be the hot list this week, right? It's got to be one of the hottest commodities right now. I mean, the views, from the finish there. I mean, it is probably one of the best races I have seen in the last 5 to 7 years that I've actually been to in person. It was awesome. It had everything you wanted, the race inside the race, the strategy, the track position, and what a finish. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. But, yeah, Atlanta's number one on the hot list this week. So number two, this is where I'm going to catch some grief. And I don't know why I catch grief. I just state the facts. I know a lot of people don't like them. But at the end of the day, I don't dislike them or like them. I just, speak the knowledge, man. Bubba Wallace, number two on the hot list, man. And people are going, Bubba Wallace, this and that. And I'm going to tell you what, look, you might not agree with his personality. There's some guys out there, I don't agree with their personalities, right? But at the end of the day, you respect them for what they do on the racetrack. And right now, first 2 races of the season, back-to-back, Bubba Wallace, the only driver's got top 5 finishes, finished 5th in Daytona and there at Atlanta. So I tell you what, that 2311 car, Toyota 23, is definitely cranked up. We'll see if they can keep it going. I think the biggest thing for him this year is consistency, definitely getting to victory lane. I feel like if he can get a 2-win season, he's going to kind of push some of the haters back and propel himself into the next expectations of what's really possible for him. So there again, like I said, number 2 on the hot list, Bubba Wallace, man. Third, last but not least on it this week, Daniel Suarez got to make the hot list after that win at Hotlanta. I mean, what a great run he had there. I didn't have him on my list. I think it was 100% under the radar. But as I mentioned earlier, a great way for that 99 Chevy team over there at Trackhouse. I did emphasize Chevy there, Lawrence, to start out a season with a win, right? Like I said, I think that eases a lot of pressure for any team out there, especially one. I mean, look, we'll say Trackhouse is good, but we all know that, honestly, Ross Chastain is kind of the bread and butter. Not saying they do anything with Daniel, but he's kind of stole a little bit more of the limelight and had more success at this point. But at the end of the day, Daniel Suarez, that just eased the mind of that team for a good long while. Now, stay hungry, keep it going, get it going, get that consistency rolling, unloading strong, and, man, I tell you what, the 99 could have a great year, so congrats to them. Now, getting onto the cold list, man, I got to put J-Lo, Joey Logano, on there just for the glove, man. And not only the glove, I know it's Daytona and Atlanta, but horrible finishes. And I know he got caught up, probably one of the best cars there at both racetracks, and got caught up in mishaps, but not a way you want to start the season. Now, I would feel like a Joey Logano is definitely going to be able to rebound here very quick, a lot quicker than some teams. We'll see if he can do it at Vegas. I mean, he's won it before. We'll see what he can do. But definitely not a way to start the year out for that 22 Ford camp. And mufflers. Mufflers are going to be on the cold list for a while. We've already had them once. We get to see them one more time this year. I hadn't been in person to see if you can tell a difference or anything like that, but at the end of the day, I don't want to see it be a mainstay in the sport, so hopefully not. Fingers crossed. Mufflers on the cold list, man. So before we get into this dead into the Atlanta review, man, I've got a special guest up here, buddy on the show. He's been up a few times with us. He's coming up now tonight. And thankful is the most thing I can say. He came by the camper and hung out for a minute, while he could. Busy man while he's at the track. But we've got Zach Case coming on the show, y'all. So give it up for Zach. Give him a round of applause. Always appreciate it when he comes by the show.
What's going on?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you been, man?
Busy.
Anything changed since Saturday?
As far as what?
Work?
No.
Yeah,
we're full throttle, building houses during the week and racing on the weekend.
That's it, man. Workaholic, man. I tell you what, man works all the time. That's it, man. It doesn't stop. So we were trying to get together before Atlanta, and we had some things come up. I had stuff. You had work stuff going on down in Brunswick. But we're here now, man. So I just wanted to give you a chance. Give the rundown. Tell everybody what you got going on this year.
So Jack in the 43 with Ryan Ellis this year, back with Alpha Prime Racing. It's definitely a change from Jeff. I mean, I've known Ryan for a long time. Back when he ran that BK Cup car at Richmond, I actually jacked that car. So, some familiarity with it. But and then in the truck series, jacking for Thad Moffitt. Okay. That 46, the Faction 46 team now.
Yep,
so that's a pretty cool deal. They, they've really good group of guys. Thad's young. He's got a lot to learn, but he's patient, and obviously he's got that bloodline with Richard Petty too.
Yeah, runs deep.
Yeah, so, it's been good. So well, we've had a little bit of a rough stretch start, but as far as the truck side, Xfinity side, should be. We've had a pretty solid start, compared to last year.
We keep an eye on you all the time, like I said, and I followed, I think, Ryan on social this past week. He liked one of the comments. I think me and you were tossing it back and forth or whatever, and liked on it, so I followed him. But, I always like to get up to date, man, what you got going on, because, like I said, you kind of got the insight and a little bit of intrigue into, what makes it, man. So, on those teams, did a majority of your guys carry over with you into that transition to 43?
I still got Big Jimmy, my gas man. Okay. Still got Eric Jones, my rear changer. Yeah. The only changes we had were basically the front with Carrier. I got Kel this year carrying for us, and then Cody's a 21-year-old kid, actually fairly close to Ryan Flores, who does the Stack and Penny show with Corey. Yep. So he's 21. He's the youngest we got in the team, but so far, I mean, he's showed a lot of potential. at the start. So looking forward to
you'll tell them,
as we grow.
Older you get, man, it doesn't move the same way.
No. Use it while you can.
That's it, man. That's it. So. But yeah, awesome, man. While you're up here, I want to get your previews, man. What do you think of, the racing in general, just of, maybe the transition for Atlanta, where we went from like the original race with the reconfiguration, and it really was kind of like that true Daytona, to where I felt like even, this year, I mean, definitely this year, you see it kind of aging into something that's going to be totally different. And I want to know how much that kind of affects you guys as far as like on that side, how you guys plan or what you do, and your thoughts on, maybe what direction Atlanta's headed.
I mean, really, I mean, we gambled big time in the Xfinity race. We end up, we came down under green there in that last run before that last caution. Our plan was to put gas in it, go down a couple laps, and then as everybody was running out and all that, to pass as we go, right. And then we end up having guys, run out and stop on the racetrack.
Killed it too.
It's been talked about, as far as super speedway racing, it is what it is at this point. There's been a lot of discussion as far as the fuel saving measures and all that's gone on. I mean, from a pit crew standpoint, we're basically same old, fuel only, right side tires, left side tires. So, this week is actually like the first true week where we're getting into real pit stops, we call them.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, those first 2 weeks, you're basically just learning each other.
Right.
Especially our group, with me being down here in Savannah and those guys practicing back at home.
Right.
Speedway racing is great to start off with because you're able to work out those bugs and stuff. With the little bit that you do.
Right.
But, moving forward, we're looking forward to seeing what our true potential is here over the next few weeks.
I'm looking forward to it too, brother. I'm telling you, man, we pull for you every week, and you can guarantee it on the money line. Where there's some racetracks, we'll be throwing it out there for it, man. So fingers crossed, man. But
we put money on that.
Yeah, we did on Saturday, man. Yeah, so. I mean, definitely the support's there, and I love the support you give the show on Rubbing and Grubbing as well, man. And, it was awesome to, like I said, get to see you and, talking to you while we're up there. And you're like, I'll see how it is getting out of here. And glad you're able to come by and just kind of hang for a minute. And like I said, I know you're super busy and getting back to the family, the wife and kid. And I tell you, man, just always a pleasure. But so just some insights on the season, man. Cup Series this year, who you think's going championship, man? Who you think?
I'll be honest with you. It's a dark horse that, a lot of people don't know. I think Bubba's got something figured out.
You just heard me talking about him on the Who's Hot list, man. And look, I will tell you like this. I went through today and I was looking at some, statistical stuff, right? And I'm looking and I'm like, there's got to be somebody that finished both Daytona and, Atlanta halfway decent. And I'm looking and I'm like, only one, Bubba Wallace, man, 5th place at both. And I'm like, look. And I think he showed last year he's got the potential to run really, really good at a lot of different style racetracks, right? We're so used to, we know the Daytona stories with him. We know, some of the, Talladega, as we've seen, last year, going for that win and just kind of, wrong move or whatever you want to call it, speedway racing. But, I mean, I really see it. I mean, mile and a half, we saw him only get better, top 10, top 12 finishes, top 7s. I think this year, I'm with you. I think he could definitely be a dark horse contender, man.
Yeah, I think, now that he's been with that 23 XL for a couple of years, they've got a new race shop up there. Him and Freddie Kraft have worked together for as long as I've known, back in the NASCAR K&N E-Series days. I mean, and then Booty Barker, of course, everybody knows Booty.
Yeah,
I mean,
awesome
there's that relationship there, and that, they've had a couple of years together, and he's shown that consistent speed in those mile-and-a-half racetracks. And again, the speedway results that he's always there at the end. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, he's kind of got it figured out.
I really think this year he's going to give him, and
give it to him, man.
Bubba carries a chip on his shoulder too. I mean, I think just the way things are and all that.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah,
I mean, I can imagine it's extremely hard not to.
Yeah.
You probably get ridiculed your whole life about this and that, and you're a race car driver, and now it's like, man, that's it. I just want to be a race car driver.
Quick
right?
Bubba story too, real quick. Bubba, nobody realizes, he gets a lot of slack. So Bubba actually came down here for a buddy of ours, Mike Campbell's bachelor party a couple years ago. And we went to the Savannah Ghost Pirates game.
Right.
Well, I had my season tickets, and then I had to get some extra ones kind of a little further up just to get us all kind of close to each other. And we get down there, and it was kind of like, all right, well, who's going to sit where? Well, I had my brother with me. He's 20, and going to school at East Georgia. And Bubba, like, immediately was like, hey, you come with me. I'll sit. We can sit together. And I tell you, like, Hunter, like, to this day, just talks about, Bubba. They didn't talk about racing.
Yeah,
it was all about
being normal person.
It was all about Hunter and his college baseball and all that. People, it kind of frustrates me sometimes, the slack they give Bubba. They don't realize how good of a dude he actually is.
And I mean, it's hard, especially, we all know a persona in media and the way things get spun around for stories and different things.
Yeah.
And, that's rough, I mean, It's got to be rough. But, I mean, talent-wise, like I said, I think, he's one of the younger guys in the series now that's had time to get his feet wet that, it's kind of like it's time. We're going to get it going. So, like I said earlier, I think a multiple win season, maybe a deep playoff run, and next few years, man, definitely watch out. Equipment's there. We know that.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
But, man, I want to tell you thank you again for always coming up on the show. And, I'll be in touch, and we'll get Zach on a couple more times, give us some insight, and, give us some more feeds, man. But always a pleasure, brother. Thank you, man. If there's anything I can ever do for you,
yeah, for sure. Same to you, man.
Definitely, brother. Zach. Hook him up with some. Yeah, I'll get you some red fins, man. I'll get you squared up on some sunglasses.
I'll go check them out.
Yeah, man.
So, thank you.
Zach Case, everybody. All right.
Appreciate it, man. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
All right, man. So, like I said, Atlanta review a little bit there with Zach. Awesome guy, awesome dude. I tell you what, goes above and beyond out of his way. He lives on the far south side, we'll say, area of Savannah, and drives out after work on Wednesdays to come out and get on the show. So, mad respect to Zach and the family. Got the family up here today, too. So, mad respect for that. But, yeah, I mean, as we talked about, I think Atlanta was probably the best Atlanta race I've seen since the reconfiguration. And, I mean, I've been going there, like I said, since '92. And the racing that you've seen has always changed, obviously, as the cars changed, the style. I mean, the true oval Atlanta back in the early 90s was amazing. And then 97, when we went into the super fast mile-and-a-half high bank that we had up to this new reconfiguration. But, it was more of managing those tires and saving the fuel and having a good car and managing it, to where now it's more of, I still think you got to have a good car. But this year alone, we saw it go from super speedway style racing, to where everybody's bunched up, and maybe, you get some guys that are falling off a little bit due to pit strategy or something happening. But first couple of years, big bunches. And this year, you got to see them big bunch, but you had so many different strategies and races inside that race, that if you could keep up with some of them, you were in there. And I mean, just different strategies and different groups of guys, and you had everything. The wrecks, the actions, the finish. I mean, let's not even talk about the finish. Like I said, third closest in NASCAR history. That's just insane. I mean, I watched the end booth of, I think it's Mike Joy and Kevin Harvick and Clint Boyer when they're up there, and they're trying to read the scoring at the end to see who won. And the scoring literally read everybody was at 0.000. So the scoring loop didn't even really have it, and that photo finish, and finally got it right with NASCAR. But, man, what a great finish, man. So, as I said, Daniel Suarez brought home the checkers, first one of the season. Beat out Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch, two guys that really know how to get it done. And, man, I tell you what, just really good runs in top threes for those guys there. But a few other guys that are notable that, a lot of people don't pay attention to. Corey LaJoie, again, brought it home 13th, so a top 15. I think he was, 4th at Daytona, right, Lawrence? So, I mean, a good way to start the season out there for that 7 car. Awesome deal there. And Kaz Grala. I mean, Kaz Grala finished 15th in Atlanta, which blew my mind. I didn't even pay any attention to that. But he came out and got the win there, or, finished 15th there, man. So that was a really good time, too. So I like finding a couple guys throughout each race that have really good runs. I think all those guys really can use some mention, appreciate the mentions. But especially when they actually go out and bust those good runs out, they really get to have, some notoriety. And I think it's worth mentioning, so. Again, all in all, like I said, probably the best Atlanta race I've seen since the reconfiguration. I'm looking forward to about 2 years down the road. I'm really looking forward. We get a couple more hot summers there and a couple cold winters. I'm really waiting to see when that abrasiveness comes back and those tires get chewed up, how much it really changes that style of racing. So we'll keep that in mind, but hey, great race there. So getting into that Vegas preview, but before we do, I got to pause for station identification, man. Right here at Coach's Corner Sports Network, rubbing and grubbing. Cheers, y'all. All right, baby. Vegas preview, man. Going to the Sin City. They say what happens there stays there, but I don't know about how much that's true. I know there's some stuff out there you can't get rid of, but a unique D-shaped 1.5 miles, man. I tell you what, I love going to Vegas. I think it's really unique. It's cool. 2 turns that act totally different. It's that 1.5 miles, but people go cookie cutters, and they're really not. I mean, they're all 1.5 miles, but all of them have their own unique style and individual shape. And if you're simple-minded enough to just go every 1.5 miles, you probably shouldn't watch NASCAR. But going to be interesting, man. Chance to see which OEM and manufacturer, manufacturers really going to lock themselves into being dominant. So, as I mentioned earlier, the pole, right? Ford's owned both poles for both races, Daytona and Atlanta. Ford has been the car. I mean, this new dark horse is running. I mean, it's fast. If you look at the top 10 qualifiers there at Atlanta, it was just amazing just how many Fords are really right there inside of that. So at the end of the day, I want to be interested to see what they do on a 1.5 miles, right? Like if they bring some speed to a 1.5 miles, it's going to be awesome. But there again, Chevy has won both races. So maybe they have the speed, maybe they don't have a little bit of the racing speed, if you will. I don't know. Maybe they don't have it figured out the dialer in yet. And granted, there again, it's 2 super speedway races back to back. Logano probably had the class of Daytona and just, wrong place, wrong time, got caught up in the moves there. And again, in Atlanta, pass-through penalty, drove all the way from the tail end of the lead lap back to top 10 in, I don't know, no time. So I'm really interested to see what it'll do. They struggled a little bit. 22 teams, especially a couple times last year, struggled on some 1.5 miles you're not used to seeing them struggle on. But we'll see. We'll see if they can keep the pole streak going and maybe get that win over Chevy. But Chevy's killing it right now, win-wise, man. So top 5, I'll go ahead and say it. I looked at it earlier. I think Joey Logano probably comes out and gets it done. I'll take him number 1. There again, out of all the Fords, really fast, really good race speed. We know he's a multi-time champion. They're going to bounce back, and in 3 weeks, we won't even be talking about 2 DNFs at the beginning of the season. So we'll take Joey number 1. Number 2 for me will be William Byron. I really love William Byron. Anybody that knows me knows I grew up a 24 fan. Obviously, I'm an Elliott fan now because he jumped on the 24 bandwagon. I couldn't just jump ship after that. But at the end of the day, like I said, really excited to see what William Byron can do in that career and that 24 camp. 3 for me, Kyle Larson. How can you not? I think he's going to open as the betting favorite, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I'll take him 3rd on my list. There again, I don't care what kind of car it is or what track we go to. You give Kyle Larson a few laps, he's going to get it figured out. He's going to figure out how to be fast. So 4 for me, another Chevy that's been running strong, man. Kyle Busch finished 2nd, had a really good run, somewhat going at Daytona until it wasn't. But at the end of the day, I like Kyle in the Chevy. I like what he's going to be able to do, I think, at RCR this year. I think year 1 you're getting established, as Zach even mentioned, to the new teammates and the new pit crews and the new way it goes around. And he's matured a lot. I feel like he's put a lot on his shoulders and carrying that, that 8 team a little bit further. So we'll see. Hopefully some success will come. Multi-win season would be nice for him. 5, Lawrence's favorite race car driver, the young Ryan Blaney. You can't have the champion not in there. Again, running really good. Bad luck at Daytona. Really good run there at Atlanta. Again, Vegas, I think somewhere that Penske loves to come and flex a little muscle sometimes there. So we'll see if they can bring it out there, out west, and keep up the speed and maybe go out and click some wins off. Dark horses. They're not really too dark this week, y'all. 45 of Tyler Reddick. I think you need to look out for him in that Toyota. We saw him run out some good runs last year early and just have some tire issues or problems. So, maybe he'll get it done. Maybe he won't. And then my boy, Chase Elliott, the 9. You can't really go, but, he's down there a little while on the odds, man. I don't know how you can't bet against him, but we'll see if he can get it done. I need a win. He needs to go ahead and break this winless streak. I ain't liking it. I'm not liking it at all. I'm struggling over here, man. So, Chase, go get it done, Bulldog. Let's get her done, baby. So that'll wrap it up for the Vegas preview. About to get into the money line, but before we do, we're going to give a big shout out. Money line presented by Redfin Polarized Sunglasses, man. The best sunglasses on the planet. Italian frames, best polarized lenses made by Carl Zeiss. I tell you what, doesn't matter what it is, whether you got money on the line or a wall hanger, make sure you see it clearly with Redfins. Doesn't matter. Glasses are made for the woods, the water. Doesn't matter what it is, man. Do not get caught without your Redfins. And as always, live life fins up. You hit checkout, go ahead and use code Rubbin'n'Grubbin15. Save you 15% there. They got some new styles, man. I'm telling you what, I've had, I think 4 or 5 buddies hunting these Hatteras, and they come in stock and they go out of stock really quick. And they've got a special collaboration frame that I want really bad, which I'm gonna try to get. I'm trying to get it. As soon as they come back in, I'm gonna try to get on them. But anyways, man, awesome sunglasses. Probably nicest ones I ever owned, baby. Like I said, red fin. Check it out. Live life fins up. So again, close, but no cigar, man. If second paid out, if we would have bet on second, we'd be all right. But it didn't. So we did win a little bit of money in the Xfinity Series. Nothing to brag home about. In the hole right now, but we're going to get this back on track, all right? We're going to do it. So opening odds this week, I think the 5's got the best opening odds. I think he's only at like 450. I mean, they're giving him that race. 24 and Denny, the 11, are both right behind, flavored at 850. You got Blaney at 9, which isn't bad odds for him there at all, which really blew my mind. Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, and Joey Logano are all over plus 1,000. All of them. 1,100, 1,200, 1,300. Logano's, I think, at 1,200, which blows my mind there at a place like Vegas where he's won and had success. But, I mean, we'll see. Definitely make sure you follow and check it out. I mean, even the likes of Ty Gibbs got some amazing odds for top 3. There again, your Eric Jones. I mean, there's some guys out there. Corey, if he can get it going on a mile and a half. There's some guys out there that, top 3 bets, top 5 might be worth betting on if you get the odds right. But, again, follow us out there on social media. Lawrence does a great job all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, posting all the stuff we bet on. We talk about the Cup racing here, but we do tend to bet on trucks and Xfinity when possible. But, hey, like I said, I'd love to hear your guys. If I leave somebody out, I'd love to see what you guys are betting on the weekend. But follow us on that social. Lawrence posted up there. Check us out, y'all. So getting into the hard right turn, before we do, got to give that big shout-out out there to Lamar's Body Shop. 35-plus years taking care of Savannah's auto collision needs. If you need anybody, 2301 Skidaway Road, right up here with Lamar, the best in the business. I'm telling you, the man knows what he's doing, team knows what he's doing, and it's like a win-win, man. You drop the car, you come up to Coach's, you eat lunch, you go back, estimate's done, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Again, 2301 Skidaway Road, Lamar's Body Shop. As I always say, why settle for par? Go see Lamar. Love you, brother. So, hard right turn, man, and we're getting into the caution laps. And Zach had mentioned this to where we had cars that ran out of fuel on the track in the Xfinity race. And I think it honestly cost Jesse Love the race. I mean, had they not ran out of gas and stopped, or had we had a different protocol when that happens in NASCAR, I don't think you would see that. Now, again, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I don't really know what the fix for it is, but I hate to see a win get ripped away from such a young guy that really dominated that race. I mean, nobody really had anything for him, or if they did, they definitely didn't show it. Just dominated. I kept saying the 98 was sitting back there. Riley Ersh is just sitting back there, and we did have Riley, man. We had it sitting big, and I'm like, man, we're sitting back there, and we good odds on them too. I'm like, man, we got one here, Lawrence, man, we've got one, and that didn't work out for us either. But at the end of the day, I hate it. And again, I think it just seems like we need to clean it up. Like, we need to come up with a rule of like a set number of caution laps, and if it can't be cleaned up in this instance, either you come down pit road, kill the cars, red flag. I mean, I really don't know the instance, but man, it was just a horrible way to see a finish to a really good race there. And I've talked about it, I think, on here a couple times. I feel like, if we're going to change the sport in some ways, we need to rethink like the green-white checkered, right? Like, I don't think green-white checkered is really enough at some places, which I don't know how you select which ones are and which one isn't, but I would like to see more like 5 laps. I would like to see more like a 5-lap shootout. Like, once we hit 5 laps, like, caution laps don't count. I mean, I would much rather like see a 5-lap shootout than basically, we all know it says 3, but we really know it's 2, right? Like, you're taking the white, or taking the green, you're getting up to speed, you take the white, you're at full speed, and then when you come back around, you're done, right? So, I don't know. Something we need to revisit. If we're making changes and we're doing all these new changes, I think it's something NASCAR really should look at. And maybe not all series. Maybe we don't have to do it for all 3. But maybe make the Cup Series or Xfinity Series or the Xfinity and Trucks special in its own way of doing things like this. I don't really know. But I hated to see it, man. And it's definitely a heartbreak for him. At that point, there's really nothing he can do about it. But that caution, we were there in person. It did take a lot longer than what it felt like it really should have. So at the end of the day, I hate it, but we'll see what direction they head, man. And, even if they decide to change it. But I think it's time we look at the green-white checkered and revamp a little bit. So that's going to do it for the rubbing. We are on to the grubbing, baby. And I've got one of my specialties that I enjoy doing in here. I didn't sauce it up like I normally do. They've got some really hot sauce in here, but I have some amazingly hot sauce at home. But it's a classic staple, man. You can't beat this when you come to Coach's Corner. I mean, it's the gator bait. I mean, and who doesn't like eating something that, it could be like, we use them to cook them and then we catch them and eat them because none of the dogs here like any of them gators. So, but at the end of the day, man, fried chicken, I went with cheddar, lettuce, onions, tomatoes, the wham, the works. I'm going home to throw my Reaper sauce on it. And we're going to tear this up, man. So, like I said, if you guys hadn't been out to Coach's Corner yet, come out here. You got to, I tell you it all the time, either you're under a rock or you're incarcerated, man. And if you're incarcerated, I give you the benefit of the doubt you can't get out to get coaches. Now, I know you can get a lot of things in there. Somebody might be able to smuggle in a Gator Bait or a Grand Slam or something, man. But at the end of the day, you got to come out to Coach's. I'm telling you guys, great food, great friends, awesome atmosphere. It's family friendly. So many TVs, got a little game section in the back for your kids to run around. Trivia's on Wednesday nights. I mean, there's so many things that are going on here at Coach's Corner all the time. You got to come check it out. The center of the universe right here, Thunderbolt, Georgia. That's going to do it for that. Carl DeMasi, make sure you check out Coach Carl Saturday, 9 a.m. with the Prep Sports Report, keeping you up to date on everything local high school sports. We're getting ready to get into opening day. I don't know how many days we got left. How many days we got left to opening day, Lawrence? Not too far away. 17 days. March, end of March, April? April 15th. Oh, so like a month. Yeah, we got a little bit over a month. Hell, it's getting close, though, Coach. It's getting close. So I'm hoping they get back with who's on first. March 15th. That's what I thought. I thought it was like 12, 15th or 12th, March 12th. Yeah, so hell, we're in there. We're in 2 more weeks. We're back to baseball, baby. But hopefully Coach gets it going again with who's on first base with Kyle Lawson, the baseball guru, missing that one. But make sure you go out and subscribe to Coach Carl DeMasi's Prep Sports Report YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to that. He's just the best in the business, man. I love Coach. Every Saturday, 9 until right here in the Sound Garden. Do got to give a big shout out to somebody else. Couple little thank yous, man. Today is Moose's birthday. So happy birthday, Moose, man. Hope you have it. Will Hare in the house, by the way, in the family, which I'm going to talk to Will when I get off here. He's a little up-and-coming Legends racer, and we're going to get him up on the show, man, to spit some knowledge on us in that aspect of racing and what got him into it and how he does. But I'll keep you posted on the dates. Maybe we can work it out and get him back up here. But really appreciate the support from him and his family. Really cool. Lawrence went down. I wasn't able to make it, unfortunately. Lawrence went down, watched him in the Legends, which I hate I missed it because I used to love going to the Legends races. But at the end of the day, man, just an awesome time. Do have to give a big shout out to my buddy Tyler there at AMS as well. Just an amazing guy. Got to do some really cool stuff this weekend, which I'm telling you, I'm still blown away by it. And just very grateful for the opportunities that he's helped me, gain and presented to me. So big shout out to Tyler and everybody there at Atlanta Motor Speedway as well. So, but that's going to do it for Rubbing and Grubbing, baby. Hey, look, I hope everybody has a Wednesday. This is always the time that I take to reflect on something that we need personal in our lives or in the world, right? And I tell you what, man, I tell you one thing that, we really need to learn to do is real self-reflection. I feel like you lose yourself in the odds and ends of everyday, life. You kind of just go through the motions, right? That's what you're so used to doing. You just go through all those motions and nothing changes. It all stays the same, or you're a little bit of good and a little bit of bad and this and that. I think self-reflection goes a long way, and really acting on those changes can help you progress in a positive manner in your life. You're going to go through a lot. We all go through a lot. But at the end of the day, I think self-change, whether it be through grief or whether it be through hurt or whether it be through lost love or broken heart or whether it be through death, at the end of the day, self-change and self-reflection is definitely something we can all be proud of. So definitely something I'm going to start taking notes on and trying to work on that a little bit. But everybody just needs to remember, everybody out there is beautiful. Everybody deserves, what they want in their life, and they're the ones that get to make that choice, as we all know, as every individual does. So choose wisely. Hey, like I said, stay positive. Tomorrow's coming. You got to make the best out of it. Hey, because if you don't, it might be over before you know it, man. So everybody, happy Wednesday. Love y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Rubbing and Grubbing. See y'all next week.